There is an unbreakable rule that every farmer, every gardener, and every billion-dollar agricultural corporation has drilled into your head. Peppers are weak. They are fragile, sun-loving plants that shrivel and die the moment the first frost touches the soil. Their seeds are always white or pale yellow. That is the truth that has been etched into textbooks for centuries. But high in the Andes Mountains, where the oxygen is so thin your lungs ache and frost coats the earth every single night, there is a living entity laughing at those textbooks. Amidst the blinding white snow, clusters of bright red fruit hang from branches, defying death itself. When you cut one open, you don't find the familiar white seeds of a common jalapeno. Instead, you find seeds that are pitch black, black like coal, shimmering like fragments from another planet. Welcome to the world of the rocoto, Capsicum pubescens. This isn't just a vegetable. This is a biological fortress.
Why have you never heard of it? Why, out of the thousands of seed packets sold at Home Depot or Walmart, is this specific pepper hauntingly absent? The answer isn't about the flavor. It's about a characteristic that is dangerous to corporate profits. It is a perennial. While the global seed industry, a multi-billion-dollar machine, relies on you buying annual seeds every single spring because their plants die after one season, the rocoto is a genetic traitor. It can live for 15 years. It doesn't just grow as a bush, it evolves into a literal tree, developing a thick, woody trunk up to 15 feet tall. Its roots dig deeper than any common vegetable, siphoning minerals from the bedrock that short-lived plants will never touch. But here is what they are hiding. It doesn't just contain capsaicin for heat. It holds a unique chemical blueprint, a natural analgesic more potent than ibuprofen, hidden within its hairy leaves and those bizarre black seeds. You are looking at an ancient medical technology that the modern system has deliberately ignored to protect your monthly prescriptions for painkillers. If you feel like there's a deliberate effort to keep you in the dark about free, sustainable medicine growing in your own backyard, comment the number 9 right now. Staying silent and scrolling past means you've accepted the lies of the system. Subscribe and hit that like button, because what I'm about to reveal regarding the Inca Empire and their ancient brain surgeries in the next part will completely destroy everything you think you know about pain relief. To understand why this plant is a threat to modern medicine, you have to look at the scars on the skulls of the ancient world. Archaeologists working in the Paracas Peninsula of Peru made a discovery that left the medical community speechless. They found hundreds of skulls, dating back 2,000 to 5,000 years, that had undergone trepanation, the surgical practice of drilling or scraping a hole into the human cranium. In any other ancient civilization, this was a death sentence. But for the Inca and their predecessors, the success rate was staggering, up to 80%. For comparison, during the American Civil War, nearly 4,000 years later, the survival rate for similar cranial surgeries was barely 50%. How did a primitive civilization perform brain surgery with obsidian blades in the freezing altitudes of the Andes without the patients dying of shock or infection? The secret was the rocoto. The Inca didn't just view the rocoto as food. They viewed it as a sacred anesthetic. They discovered that the unique chemical compounds within the rocoto, specifically a rare concentrated form of dihydrocapsaicin, could temporarily deaden nerve endings when applied topically and slow the heart rate into a meditative state when ingested in specific doses. It was the world's first targeted pain management system. While European doctors were still using leeches and prayer, the people of the Andes were using the rocoto to perform complex surgeries. They knew that the heat of the pepper wasn't just a culinary thrill. It was a vascular dilator that increased blood flow to wounds
accelerating healing at speeds that defy modern biological expectations. This wasn't folk magic. It was precise, militarized biochemistry. The Inca Empire expanded across the most treacherous terrain on Earth because their soldiers were fueled by this immortal pepper. It allowed them to endure the bone-chilling cold and the crushing fatigue of high-altitude warfare. But as we dig deeper into the plant's biology, we realize the Inca weren't just lucky. They had tapped into a genetic anomaly that shouldn't exist in the plant kingdom. In the world of botany, the Rocoto is an outsider. Its scientific name, Capsicum pubescens, literally translates to hairy pepper. If you look closely at the leaves of a Rocoto, they aren't smooth like a bell pepper or a habanero. They are covered in a fine, silver downy fur. To the casual observer, this is just a quirk of nature. To a scientist, it's a sophisticated thermal insulation system. These microhairs trap a layer of air against the leaf's surface, creating a greenhouse effect that allows the plant to survive temperatures as low as 25 degrees Fahrenheit. While every other pepper on Earth turns to black mush at the first sign of frost, the Rocoto stands tall. It is the only pepper that has adapted to survive the kill zone of the high mountains. But the real mystery lies in the seeds. In every other pepper species, Annuum, Chinense, Frutescens, the seeds are a pale, straw yellow. The Rocoto's seeds are a deep, obsidian black. This isn't just for show. That black pigment is a massive concentration of anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that protect the plant's DNA from the intense ultraviolet radiation found at 10,000 feet above sea level. The Rocoto is essentially a self-shielding biological machine. It produces dihydrocapsaicin, a capsaicinoid that is far more stable than the stuff you find in a jalapeno. This compound doesn't just burn. It binds to the TRPV1 receptors in the human body with a lock-and-key precision that modern synthetic painkillers can only dream of. It is a plant designed for a world of extremes, built to outlast humans, and engineered to provide a constant stream of medicine for over a decade. But this brings us to a darker question. If a plant is this resilient, this medicinal, and this easy to grow, why is it completely missing from our global food system? We live in an era of planned obsolescence. You see it in your smartphone that slows down after 2 years. You see it in your light bulbs that are designed to burn out. But you probably didn't realize that the same predatory logic has been applied to your food. Industrial agriculture is built on the annual model. The goal of companies like Monsanto, Syngenta, and Bayer is to sell you seeds that live for exactly 1 season. They want a plant that is fragile, a plant that dies in the winter, a plant that requires you to come back to the store, hat in hand, to buy more seeds and more chemical fertilizers every single spring. This is the subscription model of survival. The Rocoto is the enemy of this model. Because the Rocoto is a perennial, it is a one-time investment. You plant it once, and for the next 15 years, it provides you with hundreds of pounds of high-potency medicine and nutrition. It doesn't need a lab. It doesn't need a patent. It doesn't need a technician. It is an everlasting light bulb in a world of 60-watt shams. The agricultural giants haven't ignored the Rocoto because it's hard to grow. They've ignored it because it's too good at growing. They cannot monetize a tree that gives you free pain relief for a decade. They cannot control a plant that thrives in the cold without their proprietary greenhouses. By labeling the Rocoto as a specialty or exotic crop, they have effectively buried it. They have prioritized crops that are easy to harvest by machine, easy to ship in a refrigerated truck, and, most importantly, easy to kill. They have traded your long-term health and self-sufficiency for their quarterly dividends. But the cost of this suppression isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in the chronic pain of an aging population. If you are over the age of 60, you are likely intimately familiar with the prescription loop. You take an NSAID like ibuprofen or naproxen for your arthritis, which then irritates your stomach lining, leading you to take a proton pump inhibitor, which then interferes with your nutrient absorption. It is a downward spiral designed to keep you a customer for life. The Rocoto offers a way out of the loop. The primary mechanism of chronic pain in the human body involves a neurotransmitter called substance P. This is the chemical messenger that tells your brain, "My knees hurt," or "My back is inflamed." The unique dihydrocapsaicin in the Rocoto doesn't just mask the pain. It actually depletes substance P from the nerve endings. It effectively mutes the pain signal at its source without damaging the nerve itself. In a study published in the Journal of Rheumatology, researchers found that the topical application of capsaicinoids, like those found in high concentrations in the Rocoto, reduced joint tenderness and pain in patients with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis by over 40% in just 4 weeks. But it goes further. For the elderly, cardiovascular health is the ultimate battlefield. The Rocoto is packed with vitamin C, double the amount of an orange, and high levels of vitamin A and beta-carotene. More importantly, its specific vasodilatory properties help to dissolve fibrin, the substance responsible for blood clots. It clears the biological sludge from your arteries, while the rest of the world tells you to just take more statins. This plant is a multivitamin, a heart surgeon, and a physical therapist, all wrapped in a vibrant red skin. It is the ultimate insurance policy for an aging body. And yet, the knowledge of how to use it is being erased by a culture that prefers pills over petals. We have reached a crossroads in human history. We are more connected than ever, yet we are more disconnected from the sources of our life than any generation before us. We have outsourced our survival to corporations that view our health as a liability and our dependency as an asset. The Rocoto is more than just a pepper. It is a symbol of resistance. To grow a Rocoto is to tell the industrial machine that you no longer require their permission to be healthy. It is a declaration that you value a 5,000-year-old legacy of Inca wisdom over a 50-year-old marketing campaign by Big Pharma. This is the harvest philosophy. True education isn't about memorizing dates in a history book. It's about reclaiming the biological keys to your own kingdom. When you plant a black-seeded Rocoto in your garden, you are planting a tree that will grow with you, age with you, and protect you for the next 15 years. You are stepping outside of the annual model and into the perennial truth. You don't need a laboratory to heal your nerves. You don't need a government subsidy to fix your soil. You need a return to the plants that empires were built on. The Rocoto has been waiting for you in the frost-bitten heights of the Andes for 5 millennia. It has survived the collapse of the Inca, the invasion of the conquistadors, and the rise of the industrial giants. It is unkillable, it is untamable, and it is now in your hands. The system wants you to believe that health is a product you buy. The Rocoto proves that health is a relationship you cultivate. Look for the black seeds. Look for the silver-haired leaves. Look for the pepper that refuses to die in the winter. Because when you find the Rocoto, you find your freedom. If this investigation has opened your eyes to the secrets hidden in the dirt, share this knowledge. Every person who plants a perennial is a person who breaks a link in the chain of dependency. The truth is buried in the garden. It's time we started digging. The next buried truth is already waiting. See you in the next vault.